Taiwan may be best known for semiconductors, but beyond chips, other industries are building global reputations of their own, whiskey being one of them. In a market long dominated by Scotland and Japan, Taiwanese producers are now making their mark. And CNA senior correspondent Victoria Jen reports in the first of our three-part series on Taiwan's industries beyond semiconductors.
Taiwan is not an obvious place to make whiskey. It's hot, it's humid, and temperatures can swing sharply between seasons. For years, those conditions were seen as a challenge, but at Kavalan Distillery in northeastern Yilan, they became an opportunity.
What we thought was disadvantage turned out to be blessings. When you work with the climate, it actually speeds up the maturation, and it also makes the flavors even more unique and more robust in terms of Kavalan whiskey.
Barrel management is a key part of the process.
STR stands for shaving, toasting, and recharring. We shave a little bit of the inside to remove the unwanted parts. And then we toast to preheat the barrels, at the same time releasing the woody aromas from the oak. And finally, we'll do the recharring to give the layer of char inside of the barrel, and that is going to provide the color of our whiskey, as well as the caramel, toffee, chocolate aromas.
What happens after distillation is just as important.
Behind me is Kavalan's warehouse. We're not allowed to film inside. The company says it's off limits to outsiders. But I'm told a key part of the whiskey making process happens in there. Hundreds of thousands of wooden barrels that are used to contain whiskey are stored inside, and temperatures in the warehouse can be adjusted to reach up to 40 degrees Celsius. That high heat is what's needed to bring out the aroma and flavors of the wood, like American oak, which shapes the taste of the whiskey fast.
Kavalan was founded in 2005, but its global breakthrough came a decade later, when one of its whiskeys was named world's best single malt. The results surprised the industry and marked a turning point for Taiwan's whiskey.
台湾的熟成数有可能是苏格兰的3、4倍哦。换言之，就是说，这个威士忌在台湾很可能熟成了3年或4年，有可能等同于苏格兰威士忌的12年跟15年的风味。
Since expanding in 2016, Kavalan's capacity has risen to around 10 million bottles per year, making it one of the world's largest single malt producers. Its whiskeys are now sold in more than 30 markets worldwide. Around 40% of sales come from overseas.
Our top markets are spread out through Asia and Europe. So for example, Japan and Korea are really strong markets. Singapore is a market that we pay really close attention to as well. In terms of Europe and America, we have a strong presence and we're becoming stronger there too. So yeah, our goal is to expand in terms of production, in terms of effort. We are always looking to explore new markets outside of Taiwan.
Kavalan remains the dominant producer in Taiwan for now, but others, including Omar Whiskey, are also gaining recognition. There are currently 4 homegrown commercial whiskey distilleries on the island.
我们很明显看到啊，这个世界不管是威士忌市场、葡萄酒市场，许许多多的精品的市场都越来越多样化跟多元化。所以，我们过去会很尊重一些过去古老的威士忌产区，他们这种经过100年的努力而传承下来的风味，这是非常值得尊敬的风味。但很明显的，我们在威士忌市场上看到越来越百花齐放。
Despite its relatively small population, Taiwan is also a major whiskey consuming market per capita. Having no tariffs on whiskey imports has also supported demand.
第一个，首先是台湾是很重要的消费的区域，我们这里的人喝威士忌喝得非常的多，量跟值上面几乎都是名列前茅的状况，所以也这样子造就了，包括苏格兰，包括许多的威士忌的生产国度非常在意这块市场，还有属于我们本来的文化当中有喝烈酒的文化之外，台湾的环境是地小人稠，所以在推广威士忌的知识跟文化上面其实比较容易的。
As consumers look beyond traditional whiskey regions, Taiwan's producers believe their global story is still unfolding.
For more, we're joined by CNA senior correspondent Victoria Jen live from Taipei for more details on Taiwan's local industries. Victoria, this is your first series of this Taiwan Beyond Semiconductors. And living up to that name, when we first think of Taiwan, we usually think about semiconductors. But what prompted you to pursue a series on something more, whether that be coffee, chocolate, and for this time, whiskey?
That's right. When people think of Taiwan, they think of chips, and for good reason. The semiconductor industry accounts for about 15% of Taiwan's economy. Semiconductors make up more than 1/3 of Taiwan's exports, and Taiwan produces over 60% of the world's chips and more than 90% of the most advanced ones. But Taiwan is much more than semiconductors. I wanted to show another side of the island that's often overlooked. There are many small industries here that are making world-class products. Take coffee, for example. Taiwan only grows a small amount of coffee it drinks, but its specialty beans have been selling for some of the highest prices at international auctions. Then there's chocolate. Southern Taiwan has the right tropical climate to grow cacao, and local chocolate makers have won hundreds of international awards. And of course, whiskey. Taiwan wasn't expected to become a whiskey producer because of its hot climate, but companies like Kavalan turned that into an advantage and are now exporting award-winning whiskey around the world. Beyond these, Taiwan is also well known for high mountain tea, orchids, bicycles, and even luxury yachts. Now, these industries are small compared with semiconductors, but they tell another story about Taiwan.
Now, Vic, all three products are producing premium value, whether it be coffee, chocolate, whiskey, but what challenges could they face if they want to expand even further?
Well, one thing that surprised me is that even though these industries are very different, they all face almost the same challenges. The biggest one is cost. Taiwan has limited land, labor is expensive, and production is relatively small. And that means whether you're growing coffee in the mountains, cacao in Pingdong, or making whiskey in Yilan, it's very difficult to compete on price. So instead, they compete on quality. They're producing premium products with strong branding and unique stories, targeting customers who are willing to pay more. Now, climate is another challenge. Farmers told us that more extreme weather, including droughts, heavy rain, and typhoons, is making it harder to grow crops consistently. At the same time, they're facing more competition from producers around the world. And another challenge is international recognition. Making a great product is only half the job. They also need people overseas to know about it. So that's why branding, tourism, and exports have become just as important as production itself. And I think that's what connects all three stories. These industries know they will never be as big as Taiwan's semiconductor industry, and they're not trying to be. Instead, they're finding their own niche and showing that Taiwan can succeed not only through technology, but also through premium products, creativity, and craftsmanship.
And looking forward to hear more about these stories in your next episodes in the three-part series. In the meantime, thank you so much. That was CNA's senior correspondent Victoria Jen joining us live from Taipei.